So I was standing outside of my apartment during COVID, pregnant, doing laundry, when the Holy Spirit stopped me in my tracks and spoke to me in a still small voice and said, "Season of transition." And I was like, wait, what? See, I had been working and praying, working in my spirit, working on my personal growth, ready for a change. And finally, the change had come. But I wasn't quite ready yet to receive what God was about to do in my life. I wasn't ready because I was afraid. I've been praying for a bigger place to live. Me and my husband have been seeking God for increase. And we needed it because we had three children, one on the way, and we were in a two-bedroom apartment with one bathroom. And we had got tired of fighting over who was going to brush their teeth and who was going to take a shower.
Becoming with Chantel, aligning to God's purpose.
I didn't really understand at the time, but it was time that I was going to do something that was so different for me. And that thing was apply for a job. See, I felt like a hypocrite. Have you ever had imposter syndrome? If you have, leave it in the comment section below. I felt like a hypocrite to apply for a job because I have been the one on YouTube promoting building your own channel and growing in your gift, right? Your spiritual gifts and building something meaningful and the brand that matters. But I was helping people do this. I was writing people's resumes. I was helping people position themselves on LinkedIn, doing interview prep. But I had that as a business, and I was like, well, how will people see me if I decide to go get a job? But when I let go of that control, I let go and I let God, I was able to actually walk into this, okay? But my mindset had to shift, and we're going to talk about what that required of me. You might think, oh, girl, if you want a job, just go get a job. But for me, my integrity said, but how could I get a job when I'm the one that's supposed to be building something? I decided, you know what? I'm going to attack this feeling with faith. And this is when the identity war really took off inside me. The struggle between who am I? Who did God create me to be? And what next step should I take? And if you've ever felt like that, it's pressure, right? I had walked away from my dream job. I had become a mom. I had built businesses. I was in the midst of it, but I felt like the next step was for me to get a job. And my husband comforted me and he said, "Hey, Chantel, you've helped so many people get jobs. Why not just help yourself?" And so I took that advice and I went for it. I applied. And would you believe that that next day I had an interview? I literally applied one night, had a dream, a prophetic dream that God was going to bless me. And then that next day I had an interview. And then that next week I got that job. And it wasn't just any job. It was the job that I wanted. I had been looking at for 2 months. It was an academic advisor job. That was the next step for me in my career because I wanted to help people on a regular basis, like I had been on YouTube, like I had been in person, and it was my way. And so God blessed me and he blessed our whole family that with my husband and I working together, we were able to move out of that apartment and into a rental home where we live right now with now 4 children, me working from home with a new job and still building my businesses. So if you're in a transition season, just know that transition season is the season in between the seasons. And if God is telling you to move, then you need to move, because if you do not move when God speaks, you might miss out on your opportunity. If I had not moved in that season, I would have been stuck where I was instead of knowing that it was time to move. So if you're feeling the tug on your heart that God is positioning you and moving you into a different direction, The miracle is in the movement. There is a story in the Bible about these lepers. These lepers, they were waiting for healing, but they were not healed in their waiting. These seven lepers were healed in their movement. And so it wasn't the job that was the moment for me of transition and change. It was the movement deciding this is what I'm going to do. And what was bigger for me, what I learned is that it's not the job. It is what God has given me that makes me who I am. My identity that God gave me is driving all of the earthly things that I can do. I can have a job. I can build a business. It's not limited to one job. It's not limited to one business. It's not limited to one thing, but the identity that God put inside of me can be driven by me into so many different earthly vehicles. And those spiritual gifts and those natural talents that He's giving you, you can use in so many different ways. So don't allow that scarcity mindset like I did for that time, even if it was for a short time. Don't allow that scarcity mindset to limit you. You have to have a growth mindset, and you have to move into the purpose that God is giving you and allow Him to open the doors that are meant to be open for you. See, that night that I had that applied for that job and then woke up to that job interview that next morning, that prophetic dream, it included doors. I was standing in line in that dream, and I wasn't the only person in line, but when it was my turn, God opened the door. And I'm going to tell you, when I walked through that door, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, but I knew that there was something there for me, that God had something for me, and I had to battle and fight before I got there. And so I was waiting for what God had for me, and He provided it for me. I was in my winter season that I told you guys about last week, that waiting season, for 10 years. Okay. So if you're still in that winter season, God is restoring you. He's making you, He's molding you. You're learning things. Do not feel like you have to rush into change, because sometimes change takes time, and sometimes He has to equip you with what you need for that season of transition. And when you get here, you have to recognize it, and you cannot allow fear to keep you from moving. Moving is the miracle. Moving is the change. And your faith over fear is what's going to get you there. And if you only remember one thing from this video, remember that clarity, it brings peace. And my clarity in this season was, I am the driver of my identity, and what I do is just the vehicle on this earth. So do the change. Faith is action. It's not just a thought. If you're feeling stuck, just remember that you're not stuck. You might be in a winter season. You might be in the season of transition, but know that there is hope, because God is restoring you, and you're not behind. You are becoming. I hope that this helps. If you guys have questions, please feel free to email me. My email address is askchantel@gmail.com. That is AskChantel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Hugs and kisses. Oh, you guys, next week, I'm going to be coming back, and I'm going to be talking to you about my summer season, which is the one that I'm in right now. Forgot to mention that. So stay tuned, and I just love you guys so much.